Training camp, roll on down the line. That's right. We continue our training camp preview series, position by position, taking a look at tight ends today. Vikings do run multiple tight ends, 54% of their snaps. It is basically their base offense, and I like it. I love it. Want some more of it. Vikings run first team. A lot of heavy personnel involved. Irv Smith Jr. is going to be a superstar, so let's dive in. So, not starting with Irv, starting with Kyle Rudolph, the old mainstay, numero 82, the hamburger helper gloves. You know and love him. 6'6", 265, 11th year pro. 11th. Remember, he's a 2011 second round pick out of Notre Dame. Rudy from Notre Dame. But like we mentioned yesterday, remember, Christian Ponder and Kyle Rudolph were supposed to be like the pitch and catch battery for years. Not so much. But Kyle Rudolph was third on the team last year. Even though he had a relatively down year statistically, black and white, 300 would be a record. 39 catches, 367 yards, 6 touchdowns on 48 targets. He did step up in some high leverage situations. Notably, he caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime against the Saints. So it's great, but also with the emergence of Irv Smith, I mean, this easily could be the final year of Kyle Rudolph's Vikings career, because even though he got the extension last offseason, you know how Brzezinski extensions are. You get some guaranteed money up front, you maybe get 1, maybe 2 years guaranteed, and then it's like toilet paper on the back end. So the Vikings, who could be in a cap crunch, depending on what happens with the salary cap in 2021, could free up $8 million by making Kyle Rudolph a post-June 1st cut. So, you know, a guy that could put Rudy out of a job, Irv Smith Jr. Now, like we said, Irv was basically a de facto starter last year. Played 612 regular season offensive snaps, which is roughly 60% of the Vikings' offensive output. 6'2", 242, 2019 second-round pick out of Alabama. Remember, he's the third tight end off the board after Hawkinson in Detroit for some reason, after Noah Fant to Denver for some reason. Give me Irv. Okay, I'll take Hawkinson, but give me Irv. Damn straight. 36 catches, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns on 47 targets last season. And he is a true modern-day Joker tight end, where he is great as an inline blocker. I actually think that his blocking, given his size, is a lot further ahead than a lot of people expected, as well as he played 177 snaps from the slot, 28.9% of his work, as well as 65% out wide, 10.6%. So the Vikings, under Kufansky, have moved him around quite a bit, and I actually think that it's why the Vikings, after they jettisoned Diggs, they brought in Jefferson, but they didn't take another wide receiver in this deep wide receiver class until the 5th round, and I don't think they expect Osborne to contribute right away. It's probably because they do expect Irv Smith Jr. to pick up quite a bit that slack from Stephon Diggs as well, taking up a lot of that work in that power vacuum. So I think you will see Irv moving around quite a bit. Rudy will be in his traditional inline spot, but when the Vikings do run 2 tight end, one of the great things about it is if you do come out in 2 tight end personnel, whether it be 12 personnel, 22 even, that the defense typically has to stay in their base defense. So you're going to get Irv Smith in the slot out wide, matched up against a linebacker or a safety, or even if he gets a cornerback, he can out muscle him. Woo! I'll take that. I'll take that every single time. Also moving on to tight ends. Number 83, Tyler Gronklin, 6'3", 254, third-year pro out of Central Michigan, was a 5th-round pick in 2018. Played some college basketball before transferring to Central Michigan and having a pretty nice career with the Chippewas. Now, he had an amazing 2016 season, was injured his final year at Central Michigan, so that's what dropped his draft stock. But overall, I mean, he's done decent for the Vikings. Played 293 snaps last year in the absence of David Morgan, who had been a great blocking tight end for a number of years out of the University of Texas San Antonio. Also contributed a bit in the passing game, 8 catches, 58 yards on 10 targets. So, I mean, with the Vikings running 2 tight ends, it isn't always Irv and Rudy. I mean, you will see Gronklin in there quite a bit, either as the offset tight end, sometimes as the H-back, sometimes as the inline blocker as well. So, yeah, he is getting some work. He played roughly 30% of the snaps last year. I think you'll see that continue to go forward. Also, on the roster, so tight end 4, Brandon Dillon, who I really enjoy, number 86, 6'5", 250, 2019 UDFA out of the University of Marion, which is in Indianapolis. Colts didn't want him. They're dumb. But also, so Cousins calls him the Marion Flash. Now, the Marion barbarian. All due respect to Marion Barber III, pride of Wyzetta. But no, Brandon Dillon, he's a great receiver, does need to work on some of the other soft skills of being a tight end, like being an inline blocker, etc. But I mean, if you want some highlight reel catches, Brandon Dillon will do it for you. Was 8 for 95 yards on 8 targets last year in preseason, and I don't know, I'm pretty hopeful. I think that he will make the opening 53-man roster, just because of the Vikings' nature of using multiple tight ends, and maybe he'll get on the field, maybe he'll do a little bit of something. And if Kyle Rudolph is gone in the future, he certainly could be part of the future plan at tight end. Also, rounding it out, so the Vikings didn't draft a tight end despite having 15 draft picks. I mean, they could have had Thaddeus Moss. He went undrafted, but is what it is. They did pick up a UDFA tight end, Nakia Griffin Stewart, number 87, 6'5", 260, UDFA out of Pitt. Now, he was a graduate transfer from Rutgers, and he did have 19 catches, 185 yards, and a touchdown his final season with the Pitt Panthers. More of a basher, a bit of a blocking tight end. Also, probably very minor chance of making the roster, very minor chance of even making the practice squad. So he could be a roster casualty if they do have to cut down from 87 to 80. But yeah, like we said, it's not a great year for UDFAs. But that's it. That is a look at the Vikings tight end room as we head towards training camp. What are your thoughts? Who do you like? Who don't you like? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support the work, pull us on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.